Hey, welcome to the Worldwide Wander. Wander number 15. Great to see you. Great to be with you. I'm David Purr from Street Wisdom. Uh, Kyle, who are you?
I'm Kyle with Creative Mornings. Thanks for being here. Good morning, everyone.
And Kyle, by the way, has been up for 28 hours. So it's great to this is watching a man at the end, at the edge of his capacity. But to energize us and to give us all a boost, we've got the amazing Kia Cannons joining us to host today. Hi,
Good
Kia.
morning. Good morning, David. Good morning, everyone. Or good evening or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world.
Great to see you. I also see Andrew, a street wizard friend of ours, dear friend from Glasgow. Lovely to see you there. What we'd love you to do is, if you can, if you have a camera, and your data package allows, we'd love you to turn the camera on, because this is all about us connecting as humans. Those of us who are human still across the world. It's really great to see faces, to see places. That's really great. Also, if you would be kind, some of you have already done it, do what Sarah Christ has done. She has put where she's coming from in her title, in her Zoom handle. And you can do that by just hovering the cursor over your name and getting those three dots, clicking them, and like we haven't all been through the pandemic. Everyone knows how to do this. If that's a tricky for you because you're on a mobile, then please put in chat where you're calling from. That would be amazing. This has been a truly global event, and it's really fantastic to get a sense of the countries that are linking up as we sweep across the world. Fantastic. The Worldwide Wonder, it's happening. We are coming towards the end, but I'd like to think that we've just been getting ready for you guys. Or the previous 13 walks is just to get the pot boiling to the point where we can welcome you in. Kyle, back to you for a second.
Thanks so much, David. Just a few logistics to get us going. And sorry, did you mention the recording already?
No, I didn't.
You didn't. Great. I thought you didn't. I can't tell this part from the last 14 times. But we have not mentioned that we are recording this event for posterity, to capture all of the wisdom and knowledge. We're also live streaming to YouTube. So as David has been saying, he was rounding up to 1 billion. There's only 900 million viewers on YouTube watching this as well, joining us. So a little lower. I think you did mention the cameras just now, so we're probably good. If you're welcome to join us on camera, we've got some special guests and facilitators and wonderful humans joining us. This is the penultimate wander of a 16 wander 24-hour marathon that we've been doing around the world. So we're almost back at square one. We're crossing the Atlantic at a fast rate of speed, where we left just seemingly minutes ago, but it's been longer than that, it feels like. So
yeah, it's a kind of wandathon, if such a thing exists, and it's a strange combination of tremendous speed around the world and tremendous slowness in the wanders. It's great. Kia, I'd like to welcome you as co-host to this. How are you doing, Kia Cannons?
Hey, David. Hello, everyone. Yeah, doing great. Really, really looking forward to seeing what magic comes today. Super fun.
Let's just say a little bit about what's going on for those of you who may have stumbled on by accident and expecting a diet seminar. This is the Worldwide Wonder, and what it is a series of 16 workshops that we are doing as a collaboration between two companies that love each other and love creativity. That's Creative Mornings and Street Wisdom. We'll say a little bit more about both those organizations in a second. But we thought, in terms of the mission, we thought it's always great to gather creative people and to kind of amplify our creativity. And we felt like now would be as good a time as any, looking at the world. I don't know if anyone else looks out the world and thinks we're better than this at every level, yeah? And creative people like to get to it. They don't just want to critique and comment. They want to create and imagine better futures. And we like to think that, imagining better futures are no guarantee that they'll happen, but not imagining them is pretty much a guarantee they won't happen. So this is kind of what we're doing. We're getting together and we're collectively exercising our imaginations. And by exercising, I mean literally, because There's a walk shop at the heart of this experience, which means those of you who can and would like to walk, we're going to encourage that. That means strapping on your boots and getting outside if you possibly can, and ideally taking your phones, if you have them with you, and turning on the camera so that we can see what you're seeing, and you could lead us where your imagination leads you. Yeah, Kyle? I'm just checking that Kyle's still awake. We cannot believe he's still upright, given that this is a 24-hour walk, and he spent 24 other hours before this in helping prepare, along with the wonderful team from Creative Mornings and Street Wisdom who are behind the scenes pedaling madly. It's been, as you say, Kyle, a wandathon, a marathon. And you know how in marathons there would be people at the sidelines. Oh, there's Philip Cowell, our producer at Street Wisdom. He's also been really putting in the hours. I have no idea how you have the energy to smile, but thank you for doing that. And I believe your moustache has grown in the last 24 hours as well. So, you know how in marathons there are people at the side of the road going, "Wait, come on," encouraging you and giving you energy bars. Well, we've had 16 wonderful friends that we contacted around the world, influential, inspiring people who very kindly recorded messages as a kind of spiritual energy bars. And we'd like to introduce you to one now. Anuraj Chad is somebody I met through mindfulness. She's physically quite tiny and quite unassuming, but do not be confused. She is an amazingly powerful woman in the true sense of the word. She was the head of Ben & Jerry's in Europe, the ice cream company. Suddenly everyone's listening in. Oh, really? There's a company. And has now taken over the leadership of Pukka Teas, Pukka Herbs, which make those lovely teas. And Anu was kind enough to send us a message with her dog. Let's hear what Anu has to say by way of stimulus and energizing for us.
Hi, I'm Anu and my dog, Alfie. I'm really sorry I'm not there with you today. Instead, I'm recording a video from my tiny little garden where this year I've managed to grow a courgette plant. You can see that back there. That's given me more courgettes than I could have wished for this summer. As you all start your wandering journey, I was pondering about the question that you might want to take up as a challenge, which is how do we connect better with nature? That's a problem, a societal problem that we at Pukka are really aware of. And in fact, our entire vision, our entire mission and the purpose of our organization is geared towards connecting more people with nature so that via nature, via powerful organic herbs, they might live happier, healthier lives. In fact, research says that people who listen to bird song, people who stare at the stars, do have less cardiovascular problems, in fact. So there is much to be said about connecting better with nature. How do you do that in a city? How do you do that in the middle of London, for example? I'm sure that's very, very doable, and in fact, very necessary. So in fact, as you all are doing your wandering, as you're thinking about how do the greatest creative minds crack this problem, I have a few tips. I think for us, what we always think about is how can nature be a teacher? How when there's no hope in the bleak winter months, there's still hope. When we kind of get overwhelmed by climate crisis and the lack of initiative to really solve the climate crisis, again, we look at nature, or I look at nature as my teacher. So as you do your wandering, can you look at the synergies that you see around nature and how can that help us, that give us some clues? Can you look at symmetries? Again, something that nature really shows that beauty and power can go together. These are just a few tips that I leave you with as you commence your journey. But most importantly, listen to the bird songs, have a lot of fun.
Hands up who wouldn't like to work for Anu. I'm in. Kia, you work with a lot of people in the business world. What did you take out of that?
Ah, I just loved the reminder that life is always talking to us. I think it's so easy for us to just get up in the morning, get our heads down, and get on with the never-ending to-do list, right? And yet, life is always talking to us, and we might, overhear something. It might be the bird song that suddenly stirs us back to our true selves. And yeah, I really find that reminding ourselves of that, just as we just heard in that video, is super important. Like nature speaks to us and it can heal us and make us, come more alive and be more grounded. That's what really hit me there.
Yeah, ditto. This word nature, maybe something we can think about when we do our walk together is, what is that thing? I was brought up to think nature was the green stuff over there in the pot, usually dying. But in recent years and with Street Wisdom, I've began to feel, oh no, I am part of nature. I am nature looking at nature. And maybe what we're doing is connecting ourselves to our true nature when we're doing what we're about to do. Kyle, my friend, and by the way, your name is Kyle, just in case you were wondering. Kyle,
I'm not sure anymore.
heroic man who, I don't know, you metabolize from the air. I'm not sure what it is. Tell us a little bit about our co-hosts, Creative Mornings, you wonderful, wonderful people.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you, David. My name is Kyle. I'm the Chief Community Officer at Creative Mornings, and so I have the the honor of representing our chapters that are waking up with us in this time zone. We're actually doing a double take of the UK, of Western Europe, of Sub-Saharan Africa. There's 13 chapters, everyone from London to Lagos, from Cardiff to Sheffield, and everywhere in between. You can see all the cities participating and all the hosts and wonderful organizers at www.theworldwidewander.com. Do you have another chance? If you go to the site now, you have one chance left to sign up and join us on our last walk, which will begin in just under 90 minutes. So this is your last warning if you're on YouTube. One chance. But I want to tell you a bit about how Creative Mornings works, and then I want to introduce you to a special guest, Sarah, who's joined us. So every single month, usually on the last Friday of the month, hundreds of volunteers wake up early, they head to a venue, and they start setting up chairs for a free monthly creative talk. And those volunteers work tirelessly to organize the speakers, the volunteers, the coffee, the breakfast, the AV, the venues, the partners, and every aspect that creates a great grassroots community event. Most importantly, these events, much like all of these events we run for the past 24 hours, are totally free, always. It's part of an engine of generosity that runs, that fuels and powers Creative Mornings, fueled in large part by our volunteers. In some cities, you'll have an opportunity to pitch the entire room an idea, or hear a musician, or find a new collaborator. But the most important thing of all is that you'll be in a diverse group of creative talent from your own city. And if you do decide, when you do travel, you should keep Creative Mornings as part of your itinerary and find one of our over 200 cities in nearly 70 countries around the world. And I just want to really quickly highlight some of the chapters that are represented in this time zone. So here is the Cardiff, I think it's the Cardiff chapter. We recently had an event, and one of our newer chapters, we have a Lagos at their inaugural event in Nigeria, which was wonderful to see. They've just come back to in-person events after a long hiatus. But I'm very excited to welcome a special guest now. Let me just stop my share here so I can properly. Wait, was I sharing any of that? I wasn't. Was I? Oh, I didn't share screen. I had some beautiful photos to accompany that. I didn't even notice I wasn't sharing screen. Anyways, Sarah's here. Sarah, you can unmute yourself and say hi. It's good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hello, guys. Thanks for having me today. It's very cool that you're doing this. I heard of it like 2-3 days ago when you wrote me, because I missed the emails before. Sorry for that, but now I'm here.
Well, you're a very busy person, and we appreciate you taking the time to join us. It's amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting us.
Sarah, can you tell me a bit about how you got involved in Creative Mornings?
Yes, that was back in 2017 when a friend of mine, Carla, she was former co-host. She asked me to come with her to join the Creative Mornings in Zurich, our chapter, which is an hour from here. And so we went there, and we both were like, it was amazing. All the people there with like mindsets, and even Rachel doing this in Zurich since years. She gave us such a warm welcome, and she assisted us even in this process of getting on board with Creative Mornings, because it was quite a bit of work to say. We had to do this movie telling the New York chapter why Basel needs to have Creative Mornings. And so we did for the first time this film cutting, which was cool to do. And we went interviewing throughout the city people which are doing creative stuff. And we both were working in the event scene back then, doing marketing. And so we had quite a few good connections to talk to, and which were willing to do it. And then, yeah, we had an hour of an interview. And then in October, we started in October 2017.
Amazing. So it's you're just a few weeks from your 5-year anniversary for the chapter. Congratulations.
Yes, I just realized this morning. It's the next month. Yes.
That's great.
Sure, yeah.
And can you tell us, Sarah, what a typical Creative Mornings event is like in Basel?
Yes. Usually we're having a get-in at 8 o'clock. People are coming earlier. That's the thing. Sometimes we're still preparing with the video stuff, but they are used to it that we're fixing up stuff. So it's all quite, our community is quite family-like. We also have some 50, 60 people who some 30 of them show up, but it changed a little bit. We got some new every once in a while, but it's quite a family. Which is good or bad. Then we have 30 minutes to mingle, to have coffee, to talk. And then at 8:30 we start with an introduction by our co-hosts. I have to admit that I'm not doing this on my own. I really want to outline, because I have some co-hosts, which is Andrea, Sarah, Martin, and Dominic. And then we have the whole team doing this video stuff, photography, Niels, Timo, Stefan, and Anki. And without them, I would never be able to do this, of course. So we're all there, and somehow we always manage to do this via WhatsApp. We rarely meet each other prior to the event. And then one of us makes an introduction in the morning. And then usually we have a 30-second pitch where somebody of the community can introduce a project or a new business or idea, something. That's the idea I've stolen from Berlin, actually. Thanks to that, Berlin. Well, and then after that, we go into the speech for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and we end that speech with a Q&A. And then we have some coffee. And at 9:15 is our aim to leave people go. If they want to go, they do not disturb a talk or something. So they are free to leave at 9:30. And then,
short and sweet, all of that in just over an hour. Amazing.
Pardon?
I said short and sweet, all of that in just over an hour. It's amazing.
Yeah, we try, because we don't want people, that they need to stand up while somebody is talking. Makes a bad feeling for both. So we really keep it short, and we think that in this shortness, the essence can be said.
Amazing. Sarah, do you have a piece of feedback from an attendee from over the years that stuck with you?
Well, not only one. It's just, I think that what I said before, that they keep on coming back since 5 years, and that is our feedback. And they come, and I think also when we hear that some project starts somewhere and they get people from our community to help to work on it, that is maybe our best reward, to see that this networking is working actually, and that they like each other, and that they like coming back, and even the inputs of our speakers, of course.
That's awesome. That's what makes it worth it, right? When you get feedback like that from attendees. So
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Best feedback is when it works without us actually in background. Yeah.
If that's possible. I don't know if it is, but it's the
No,
work.
it is. I mean, if it works, you know, if when they start projects, and we know they learn to know each other there at Creative Mornings, so that's maybe the best thing that can happen. And then
That's amazing.
we get that feedback that I've been doing this with this photographer, or I got to know him there at your Creative Mornings, and this is really cool. Yeah.
That's it. It's all about the connections, you know, the connections that come. And for the most part, you never hear back about what's happening in the world. So you hope you wake up early to set up chairs and hope that those connections are coming out the other side of it. But thank you for 5 years of doing this every month for your community, and here's to 5 more years. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, well, hopefully. And thanks for your support as well. I have to say, the HQ is always helping us with whatever we have. And even while we had during COVID, we were working together with Zurich and Freiburg in Germany. And we did this whole Zoom events together, which was marvelous.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was
So
really
the network is worldwide working.
amazing. Sarah, thanks so much for being a part of it. And I hope that this event and experience and walk can be a gift for you for all of your hard work. So thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
David and Kia, we'll pass it back to you. Thank you.
That's beautiful. So Kia is going to really lead us through this, but maybe I just say a couple of words really about Street Wisdom. It came out of experiment, really, like most creative things. I was working at the time for many years with executives who mostly worked in steel and glass buildings. It's pre-pandemic, right? And I noticed that when we went out of the buildings, people seemed to be freer and more, in a way, more human. They'd almost like they'd left their identity a little bit more behind in their building. And it made me start thinking of the street as the space, not just the space to hurry through on the way from A to B, but maybe it's a play space, an experimental space between our identities. There's a sort of slightly identityless area there, and there might be a good place to play. And over the years, we came up with something that was ideally, intentionally very simple. We pared it down so that it can work easily, so that once you've gone through it, it's in your body and you'll remember it. And that's one of the reasons it's spread to 84 countries. Like Creative Mornings, we're a non-profit. Everything's free and mostly powered by most of the people on this call are some of the real reasons that it's working. I'll tell you just very briefly what you're going to do. And the first is there's 3 parts. How many parts, Eleni? How many parts in Street Wisdom? 3! There she is. You see, that's the kind of creative spark we need on this call. 3. The first part is what we call the tune-up, but I'm realizing it's the wrong name, really. Tune-up, I'm a musician. I like the idea of tuning up, but really it's more tuning into the world around you. Who doesn't screen out the noise, the distraction? We all do, because we're told we've got to get tasks done, right? But actually what we're going to do is we're going to reverse that process. We're going to tune in to what's around us and follow the distractions, follow those distractions and see where they lead us, yeah? And the reason we're doing that is so that we can, in stage 2, we can ask a question. So step 2 is what we call the quest. And in it, you won't be sitting in front of a laptop thinking, you're going to be walking. So as we said before, I mean, that you're strongly advised and welcome to walk. You can also do this at home. You can wander around your room. You don't need to be in the street, but it's important that we use our body because our body is intelligent. I was never told that at school. I was told to stand at the back of the class in gymnasium and not bother the gym teacher. Because it would seem that the very most that the body could do was successfully take your head around the world to do the real work. This is like the CEO of the body. And we don't think that. We are reversing that pole and thinking of the whole of our body somatically as as part of our intelligence. It's a navigational aid that's embedded in us and that helps us steer us through this complex world that we've created for ourselves. So Kia will explain how that quest section works, but you want to start letting a question come to mind that you'd love fresh answers to. Something that you would value fresh answers to, so that today is doubly valuable for you. You're getting real value from what we're offering. And in the third part, we'll have the sharing. As Eleni says, there are 3 parts, correct? Third part, we will get together again online and we will share what popped out at us, and how it might be an answer to our question. Might be, not is. This isn't an exam where you have to tick things off, and perfectionism not required, or indeed not allowed. Not allowed to be a perfectionist here. We're going to be human beings bumbling and stumbling and tripping over knowledge and wisdom. Yeah. So that's the 3 parts. I don't think there's anything more to say other than to warn you that Kia is sunshine in human form. And she I know her well, and this isn't put on. She's this bright and joyful in the middle of the night, whenever. This is her nature. And it's important. We talked about nature, but as we go through this, maybe you might want to think that what you're doing now is you're connecting not just to nature, but to your nature. Kia, I hand to you.
Love it. Hey, everybody. Hello, David. Thank you for that lovely intro. And hello, everyone. And yes, let's welcome in this Street Wisdom experience that we're all going to take part in now. We're going to have a go at this wonderful, creative, everyday practice and just see what happens. Street Wisdom really, for me, is about recognizing that the streets around us, these urban jungles that we sort of play out our lives in, is actually an amazing place to simply play and to wonder and, perhaps work some things out. And we often assume and just think of the streets as, it's just a place that gets me from A to B. But what if the streets could help us? What if they could help us with questions that we've got in our minds, with maybe new ideas that we want to follow up, fresh answers that we really want some answers to. We want some answers to these challenges that perhaps have been long lasting. I have used this process myself when I've been like, do I do this with my business or that? Is this the idea that I should follow? And it's just really, really exciting how much clarity I personally have received through doing this process. So I'm so excited for you, whether you've done this before or whether it's completely new. I also love the fact that, David often talks about the fact that streets are a space where you are between identities. We leave a building where perhaps we've been doing business and we're in that persona and we're in that energy. But before we perhaps get home and we get to be in that energy, perhaps it's responsibilities back at home and it's cooking or cleaning. In between, when we're in the streets, we can there's an invitation to be whoever you want to be when you're just out there, the streets on your own. And I just love that. We also, the streets remind us that we have a body, right? It is so easy to just think of ourselves as a brain and our feet get our brain to wherever we need to go. But in between your feet and your head, there is this whole body, and that we can actually be led by the wisdom of our body. Our body can actually help us by using its senses. And, we can also imagine, as generations and generations did before us, that the information that we're craving, the answers that we want, the ideas that we're yearning for, this information isn't just encoded in books and very clever conversations. It's actually everywhere, all around us. We just need to tune into that lovely, I call it like a guidance system. And if we dare to look, we dare to ask these different questions and be open to receiving. And I think another part is we dare to listen. How many of us go through our life asking questions and actually not ever getting really quiet and daring to listen? And that's what we're going to be doing in this process today. We're going to be daring to listen and to notice. And, and really it's about having a conversation with your environment. A bit like what I was saying before, I believe that life is talking to us all the time, and that we can get into a conversation with life and I tell you, when you do, your life can completely change. Oh, it's so exciting. So basically, I think David's kind of really walked us through what a workshop is. There are 3 parts. Obviously, as he mentioned, we've got the tune-up for the first 15 minutes. We've got the quest. That's the lovely walkie bit where you're, looking around and seeing what jumps out at you, perhaps what you overhear. That's another 15 minutes. And at the end, we'll have our sharing section where we just come back together and we share what we've learned. So does that sound good? We got some thumbs up. Yeah, it sounds good. So before we start, as David has mentioned, we can do this indoors or outdoors. It's completely up to you. Both work well. If you're indoors, you might want to turn your camera off and make sure that you're in earshot so that you can hear me as I'm going to be talking you through the instructions. If you're outdoors, just another little reminder to perhaps turn your video on facing outwards so we get to come along on the journey with you and see where your imagination takes you. So before we start tuning up, let's just bring a little light attention to our feet here. So, when do we ever express gratitude for our feet? We can be so grateful to our hearts and our minds, but what about our feet? Our feet that take us on these incredible wonders, that can lead us to the places that we perhaps need to go to receive the different pings and nudges and guidance that life can give us. So let's just take a little minute. You want to, if you're safe to, close your eyes perhaps, take a little deep breath. Just sense into your feet. Maybe they're on the floor. Maybe you can sort of feel pressure against them. Maybe just send up a little moment of gratitude. And we can also just start to notice our breathing. Maybe just take a nice little deep breath just to send to yourself. I'm going to do that myself now. Just feel yourself settle into your body. So let's begin with the tune-up. I'm going to give you 3 instructions. And for 2 or 3 minutes, and don't worry, I'll be looking after the time. You'll hear my voice when I say we're going to do the next thing. But for 2 or 3 minutes, in a moment, you're going to use the instruction that I'm going to give you as a filter for your experience. So if I said, okay, I want you to follow everything that is blue, you would walk around and you would follow everything that's blue. If you were in your room or if you were out on a street. And so we'll put an instruction. Somebody magically is going to put an instruction in the chat each time. So it's going to be super, super easy for you, whether you're on your phone and you're out and about or whether you're at home. And don't worry about the time. Just make sure you can hear my voice. So after I give you the instruction, I'm going to give you 2 or 3 minutes, and then you're going to hear my voice, and then I'll bring you back here and I'll give you the next instruction. I'm going to give you 3 instructions all together, one after another. And you'll go for a mini wander each time for about 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, first instruction. Be drawn to what attracts you. So if you're not already stood up, you want to make sure you're on your feet, and whether you're inside or outside, just start to be drawn. Start wandering around the space you're in, or outside, space you're outside in, and be drawn to what attracts you, and notice what doesn't attract you. And so I want you to wander off now like a child on its first day at preschool, full of all the lovely things. Just be drawn to what pulls your attention. Allow yourself to feel that sense of being drawn, pulled perhaps towards things you like the look of or the feel of, and notice what isn't attracting you so much. So off you go. I'll be quiet for a couple of minutes and you go and have your first little mini wander and a mini tune-up. You've got about another minute, and just continue to be drawn to what attracts you. Notice what attracts you and notice what doesn't. Beautiful. Okie dokie. Well done. If you are inside, you might want to just come and stand back next to your laptop or whatever device it is that you are listening to me through so you can hear the next instruction. Well done. You've all done brilliantly. I can tell. I'm loving seeing the different streets that you guys are on with your videos on. Thank you so much for turning your videos on so we can see where you're wandering. It's so special. Okay, we're ready for the next tune-up. This one is really, really simple. Kind of hard to do sometimes, but go with it. Just slow right down. And when I say slow right down, like I mean it. I want you to walk as though you're walking through treacle. Slow everything. Slow your walking. Slow the way your arms and hands move. Slow the way you might even blink or turn your head, the way you look. Can you slow down the rate at which your mind thinks, even? The speed at which your hair grows? Try it. Okay, so I'm going to send you off for 3 minutes now and just simply slow right down. You've got 3 minutes and off you slowly go. Okay, welcome back. Welcome back. Great work. And weirdly, it does feel like another way of working, right? It can feel really challenging to slow down, but I promise you, I find so much magic comes from just really going with it. Doesn't matter if you're walking really strangely in public. No one's noticing. They're all on their own journeys, doing their own thing. Okay, so third and final tune-up. Are you ready? This is one of my favorite ones. This is see the beauty in everything. That's your instruction. And in fact, it's really about sensing the beauty in everything, because it's not just seeing, is it? It's feeling, it's noticing, it's hearing, it's using all the senses. So sense the beauty in everything. And that really does mean everything. It's not just the obvious things that are, of course, totally beautiful. Do enjoy those too. But it's also the things that don't seem so obviously beautiful to begin with. It could be a piece of gum on the pavement. It could be a poster that's all curled up and starting to fall off the wall. It could be a pile of cables that have got a bit dusty in the corner of a room that you're in. Can you find the beauty in everything? A little hint for this one. If you just kind of wallpaper the word gratitude at the back of your head as you're wandering, you'll find it's that. It's beaming gratitude and appreciation on everything. Go for it. Okie dokie, I'm going to go quiet now for the last couple of minutes and go and find the beauty in everything.
Probando, probando.
Amazing, well done. So come back to my voice now and just take a moment to look around at things. They may seem a little bit more three-dimensional, I imagine. and you will be picking up on much more data than you did before. Beautiful. You're going to be receiving a lot more as well, and you're giving out a lot more too. So this is the perfect time to start the quest, your quest. So in a second, we're going to start this question. We're going to start looking and sensing into this question that you might want to find fresh answers to. Now, don't fret. Sometimes a question to ask doesn't come up straight away. Sometimes it comes halfway through. Sometimes you find the question at the end or even the next day. A great question I like to ask sometimes is streets. Show me things I don't already know. That's a super fun one. It's really great to use if you're stuck. Otherwise, think of your question. We're not going to go so big as to ask, big things like, what's the meaning of life? And we don't need anything so small that's like, what's for lunch? Somewhere nice and in between is perfect. I'll give you a couple of examples. Some great questions could be, what's next for me? Or it could be, show me new ways to do, and fill in the blank. One I love to do is, how can Kia get better at, and then, insert the thing. So insert your name and whatever the thing might be. It could be, how can I make today more unusually, and insert the word there. It could be something flirtatious and more unusually magical. Who knows? That's a really fun one. You might be at a crossroads in life or in work or whatever it might be, and you might not be sure whether to go down this path or in this direction. That might be something, a yes or no, a this or that. What do you feel you need fresh answers to? Just take 10 seconds now and just let yourself mull that over. And now, let your feet take you for a walk. If you're lucky enough to have working feet, let your feet be wiser than your head. You're all tuned up, tuned in. Your body's raring to go. It just wants to go now and have fun, find treasure. So let your body be in charge. And with your question as a filter through which you experience everything, gather the signals around you. What do you notice? It might be a sign, might be on a word, on a bus maybe, or on a lorry as it goes past. It could be a book title that's relevant to your question. You might smell a smell or see a colour that reminds you of something that's relevant to your question. You might overhear something on the street or hear someone, you could even stop someone and ask them your question. Like, anything is relevant to your quest. Don't push it if nothing obvious is happening. Just notice that and slow right down some more. Sometimes, and often personally, I find wisdom doesn't shout, it whispers. So get really slow. And so now go for your wander. You've got 15 minutes and bring at least one thing back if you can. It could either be something physical, it could be a memory of something that's meaningful to you and to your question. Just see where your imagination takes you, and if something jumps out at you, maybe take a photograph of it, or if you can physically bring it back, do that. Enjoy, really enjoy this freedom that you're giving yourself to wander, to notice, to play. And this is just a reminder that you don't have to leave where you are to do this. You can do this sat inside in your room, walk around the room you're in or the space that you're in. But wherever you are, simply let the world stimulate your senses and enjoy what it's like to respond to that. We can be curious about our experience, indoors, outdoors, sat down, wandering. Let's do it. Let's get going. So next time you hear my voice, I'll be giving you a 2 or 3 minute reminder that the quest is coming to an end. And that's it. Off you go. Enjoy. Okay, so you've got a few more minutes to keep wondering, keep asking your question, keep sensing. Often the best signals are those in the final few moments of the quest. So you've got 3 minutes, off you go. Okay, gather round everyone. Well done. Amazing work. Good, good. Yeah, I also loved seeing the Portuguese pigeon, Tina. That jumped out at me too. Loved it. Okay, so of course, we're not stopping your wonder. We're just pausing it. Quite often, when we tune in intentionally like this, we'll still be receiving different signs and whispers and pings and nudges throughout the rest of the day, rest of the week. So, just enjoy just continuing to notice what pops up in response to your question. And this is a big lifelong creative practice you've got now. So we're going to move on to the sharing part, which is so fun, the third and final part. We would love you to consider what popped out at you and how it might be an answer to your question, how there could possibly be a link there. So you want to think about things that might have popped out at you that puzzled you. Sometimes, you don't even know how something that jumped out at you relates to your question. And we love that because your body has a suspicion that it's useful, but the mind just doesn't know yet, like why. That's really, really fun. Okay, so if you're able to, please write something in the chat right now that popped out for you. Tell us something that you noticed and perhaps how it relates to your question. So do that right now in the chat, please. It'd be lovely to see what came up for you guys. I absolutely loved watching the videos. Oh my goodness. Joe, who was showing us some blue turquoise netting at some point, in love with that. Eleni, you were walking up some steps to an open door at one point. I was like, I want to go in. And you did, and it was super cool in there too. And I absolutely loved Anna in Portugal when it's showing us markings on a drain pipe. I would totally have got pulled in by those things as well. So let's have a look. Get in the chat now, guys. What did you see? Like, what jumped out at you? Tina, I love that. I want to subscribe to Kia's energy. Literally, I was just born this way. I don't even know or understand it myself, but yes, I get that comment a lot. Thank you. Okie dokie. Vanessa's popped something in the chat. Let's see. Just had a very profound experience following on from the last wander. Oh, love that you did a double wander back to back, Vanessa. That's super cool. About growth and struggling through the bumps. Ooh, and Tracy, reminder that everybody is struggling alongside us. Oh, I love that. I love that. In fact, I had a little mini wander on my own and I opened a page of a book and it said, I understand the cycle of life now. And she was talking about how she doesn't get to work much when her children are off school, and just put all of their energy into the times that they are in school. And she said this, I've learned to work with it and stop fighting it. And I feel that struggle myself. So you guys talking about struggle, I feel like there's a link there. Love that. Anna says, me too. Love that, Vanessa, from Philip, that'll be over at Street Wisdom. A double wander is now a thing. Absolutely. Okay, so let me know who is up for. And actually, just before I invite you guys to perhaps share by unmuting and turning on your video, I just want to see what Eleni wrote. I discovered a pomegranate that was old outside, but so ripe from the inside. Ooh, love that. I feel like that's starting to describe me as I'm roaring through my 40s suddenly. Okie dokie. So, and actually there's one more in the chat from Joe. Reminded me of my real freedoms of choice by seeing a sign to commemorate a mass trespass. Oh, interesting, intriguing. Anna, I just moved into this town, sorry. So my question was about how can I be happy here? I realized that maybe I just need to wonder, hey? Like those pipes, or the pigeon who just wanders and looks happy. Oh, that is such a beautiful message. I adore that. Beautiful insight, says Philip. David, alongside death, the pomegranate symbolized fertility in ancient Greece and Rome. It had a strong association to Aphrodite, the Greek goddess of love, as well as, is it Hera, the Greek goddess of marriage and childbirth. Love the knowledge that you bring, as always, David. That is super cool.
That's, by the way, direct from Wikipedia, just to be clear.
You could have fooled me because you always know the meanings to words. Love that.
Not in this case.
Not this time. Vanessa says, lovely Joe. Also spoke to a stranger. Oh, there's brave. I'd find that scary. Someone who needs help and is struggling. Oh, wow, we're getting full circle here. Amazing. Okay, thank you so much for filling up the chat. Who is willing to just give me a little wave? And I'm sure Creative Mornings people can help me out with giving people permission to unmute themselves. Give me a wave if you're willing to share what might have come up for you.
And Kate, just a note to you and everyone that everyone can unmute themselves.
Oh, thank you, Kyle.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, awesome. Okay, Philip, did I see you waving? It's hard to. No, you weren't waving.
No, I was doing my thumbs up. Sorry.
The tech side of things. Okay, Eleni, I can see that you are waving. So please unmute. Tell us, what did you experience?
Okay, well, David was quite right because I am calling in from Cyprus, which is known for Aphrodite. And I'm actually walking on the buffer zone. So I'm in between the Turkish and the Greek side, and I'm right in the middle. And it's an amazing place. I actually lead walks here on the Green Line in Cyprus, my hometown. And for me, today was an incredible experience because for once, I was not guiding, I was not talking, and I was walking the same walk that I do at least 4 to 5 times a week on my own, exploring little areas that I haven't seen before, walking through the back areas. And I was not actually asking a question, it was more about just letting myself go freely and just be very grounded and very present. And it was an incredible experience. And on my way, I did find this beautiful pomegranate, and I guess that for me was a big one, because it just shows that from the outside things look different. It's the inside that counts, and it was so ripe and beautiful. And I think everything is comes from within, and so that was for me today a great symbol. And yeah, thank you so much. This has been an amazing journey. I've been watching you for quite a few hours, so well done to all of you. And I'm so happy to be part of this movement today. Thank you.
Oh, what an inspiring story. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Okay, we've got time for someone else. Would anybody else be willing to share what they saw, whether it answered their question perhaps, whether it didn't? Just give me a little wave.
I think Vanessa waved just a little bit
Thank you,
earlier.
David. Vanessa, would you like to share?
Only if I'm not hogging time, then yeah, I only because I had a really profound experience where the last session I'd had this question about being sort of pulled down by difficult people in my life and who are unavoidable, and so the struggles, and so but Tracy sort of pointed out a very nice that she put in the chat about how it's always remembering that everybody's struggling. It's always that reminder, isn't it, that it doesn't need to bring you down because everybody's struggling. So then when I went back out now, I kept seeing things about growth and seeing again brambles and words around growth, and things sort of become a bit clearer. And then I did ask the question about what's that one you prompted about what's next for Vanessa. And then as I turn the corner, and this is like, I live in a village, so, you know, it's really quiet. I kind of know everybody, I thought. Of course I didn't. And then I turned the corner and there was this woman who was clearly mentally distressed. She definitely was having mental health problems and had a big sort of plaster cast on her leg. And she was just sort of very softly saying, help, help, on her doorstep. Would I come in? And so I did have a moment of thinking, am I going to be attacked? But I braved it up thinking I am in the countryside. And I went in and her husband was there, who was up a tree clipping the growth. So he was clipping the growth back. And she was talking about how everything was growing too fast in the garden. She couldn't get, and she needs some help, but she wasn't well. And so and then the husband was a bit confused why I was in the garden because she'd invited me in. But the end of it was that I sort of realized that, of course, everyone's struggling. And I offered to go back. He said, I'm going to work on Tuesday. I said, well, I'll come back and check in on her. And it reminded me of when I used to do this, I used to work with the Samaritans doing outreach. So it reminded me that that is the thing that I need to do to add back in my life.
Wow,
yeah, it was quite big.
Profound.
And again, like we were just saying, Eleni was just saying, it's a walk I've done literally hundreds of times. So yeah, it was good.
That is beautiful. Wow. Amazing. I don't even know anyone can even follow that. That's just, isn't it incredible how sometimes you just get, like you say, the most profound hits.
Yeah.
This process. Amazing.
I'm just interested. That's such a strong one, Vanessa. Did it touch anybody else? What did you hear in Vanessa's story for you? And I include people in our team on that as well.
I just Vanessa, I really felt for your story. I meet a lot of strangers on my walks, and it's I think the best part of the walks is actually meeting people that I don't know. And there's a lot of people out there who just want a little attention. They just want somebody there just to give them whatever it is, a smile, a little chat. And these are for me the profound moments of my day every day while I do these guided walks, because I always encounter people on my way, and it's just about being there for them, whether it's helping them or just giving them the human attention that they so need to get. And so I relate, and I really enjoyed hearing your story, Vanessa.
Thank you, Eleni.
Come back to me.
Joe, did you put in the chat that you met a stranger?
I think it was interesting because I was actually sorry, on the verge of tears when I was speaking to my stranger, and she helped calm me down. And then my question is about how to be with the climate crisis and how to talk to people about it. Because I tend to be quite shouty, voicing my concerns on it. And I'm so sorry.
Don't be sorry, Joe.
On the Parkland Walk, where I'm walking here, which I've walked 1,000 times, there's a tree which is a focal point for people who have lost young babies. And there are hundreds of I don't know what you call them, hanging ornaments for each child. People have put their child's name on it, usually with a commemoration. And I'm just knowing that the climate crisis is affecting lots and lots of individuals. It's not just a movement, it's individuals who are losing their lives or whatever in Pakistan, and that fear of talking to people and finding community and getting drawn into someone else's life, just responding to what Vanessa was saying, it's scary taking that step and talking to other people, but actually they can help you in return. I don't know, as you can see, I'm quite overwhelmed. But I don't know that I've come up with any conclusions or solutions, but it sort of reaffirms the sort of things I've been thinking about, really. Yeah.
But also, Joe, I think I think we need the shouty. We need people like you who are always so passionate at getting to the cause and making change happen. That's important more than anything, isn't it? So it's massively important to have that voice. It's something I really admire, is people who have a voice and use it, but proactively and positively. So it's really lovely. And it's also the power of community, isn't it? That is what we're doing right here in this whole 24 hours is about community and the power of togetherness. And it's something we forget so easily, and that's 2 moments, isn't it? That amongst many in the last 24 hours of just reaffirming that we need each other. And the planet needs us to need each other, right? We all need to be connected.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Now
I feel a bit tearful.
Yes.
I was certainly welling up there. Absolutely beautiful.
But that was lovely, Joe.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. That really did just bring us all together, whilst we were also starting to find these common threads throughout about struggle. And that was absolutely beautiful, very powerful. And to our workshop, you've all done so brilliantly. We've just got a few final thoughts and feelings. The first is that this is a practice that you've got now for life. It's free and it's yours. And I really do encourage you to use it and share it. You know, tell your friends. If you experience something today and you love this and you're intrigued, you know, tell friends about it. It's just, it can be so life-changing and so helpful to have a tool like this in your back pocket. We've got a gorgeous gaggle of street wisdom practitioners and facilitators across the planet using it daily to solve problems, coming up with new ideas, finding solutions. And it's a really, this is what I love, is that it's just so simple. It's a really simple creativity boost, mindfulness hack, and a solutions finder for the 21st century. And Jeepers Creepers, we need this. Secondly, by the way, you know, you didn't just walk through the streets, you know, you walked through the outside world, yes, but you also walked through your inside world. You walked through you today. What life is showing to you is for you. And it's like the Buddhists say, what you're looking for is what is looking. Love that. So consider the beauty that you just saw and is bathed in you. All that beauty is there. It's inside you. You wouldn't have seen it and noticed it if it wasn't. Everything that flirted with you on the outside is a future message from your future you. You're telling yourself something. Like, notice, listen to those whispers, get quiet often. Be still, be curious, follow your nose, follow your feet. Let your feet take your head for a walk, as David always says, and I love that. It just sums it up. So that's it. Thank you very much for everyone. Thank you for letting me facilitate this and take you on this journey. You know, thank you, David. Thank you, Creative Mornings. You're all amazing. And, you know, just, you are all awesome wanderers, all of you. And back to you, David.
2 words. Thank you. Thank you, Kia. Thank you all for attending. It is community, as Joe said. It works because we're connected. Not just head to head, but heart to heart, soul to soul, feet to feet. And Kia, it's personally just a joy to be able to see you and others take this on and make it your own. And for me to be able to feel a bit like Eleni, I don't need to guide, I can follow. So it really touches me. One final comment that Joe's comment really brought up, and also Vanessa's, 2 people very close to me, dear to me, by the way, is, and I may have mentioned this before, but it's we are the stranger. Just remember that we are the stranger that other people might find difficult to approach. So maybe if you think everyone's on street wisdom except me, we might relate differently to strangers and help us across that awkward divide that Joe is rather brilliant, by the way, at crossing, but there is an awkwardness, and if we do anything, diminishing the distance between us, the self-imposed distance, would be a major victory for us, and I think probably for the planet. Kyle, Tina, Creative Mornings, gorgeous people, back to you.
Thank you. With that, the 15th event is drawing to a close.